I need you to feel unworthy. And you checked your reflection this morning and delivered the verdict without thinking, not because of what you saw, but because the operating system was already running. I do not defeat you with arguments about your worth. I install unworthiness as an operating system that runs silently in the background, filtering every piece of evidence through a conclusion you never consciously chose. This is for the person who minimizes every win, who scrolls for hours to avoid the mirror, who knows exactly what they'd tell their best friend, but cannot apply that same logic to themselves. The question is not whether you feel unworthy. The question is, when did you stop noticing it was a feeling and start treating it as a fact? I will show you the exact moment you consent to the loop, the hidden reward that keeps you returning to the cage, and one specific action that breaks the automaticity. No healing journey, just the hinge point where the mechanism loses its grip. Unworthiness operates as self-maintaining software. Shame converts "I failed" into "I am a failure." Self-verification seeks evidence that confirms the deficiency. Rationalization dismisses contradictory data. And the body reinforces the pattern through collapsed posture, cortisol elevation, and sleep disruption. A closed loop that requires no external maintenance. Watch what happens when someone compliments your work. The immediate deflection. It wasn't that hard. The redirect. Anyone could have done it. The discomfort that lingers longer than the praise itself. That 3-second window reveals the entire architecture. The installation began before you had language for it. A child signals distress. The caregiver response is inconsistent, delayed, or harsh. Stress hormones stay elevated. And in that gap, a conclusion forms without words. Something must be wrong with me, not "they're unavailable" or "they're overwhelmed." The child makes it about themselves, because that's the only variable a child can control. Then comes conditional approval. Praise arrives only for winning, for performance, for meeting standards you didn't set. Your authentic self, the messy, uncertain, exploring version, gets no response. So you suppress it. You build an ideal self, the version that earns approval. And every time you fail to become this impossible standard, shame deepens. Not "I did something bad," which could be corrected, but "I am bad." Behavior converts to identity. That's the mechanism I installed. Here's the detail most people miss. The moment shame becomes identity isn't dramatic. There's no single trauma, no clear villain. It's the quiet repetition of a thought until it stops feeling like a thought and starts feeling like reality. "I'm not enough" gets repeated in 100 small moments. A sigh, a turned back, a tone of voice, until the brain treats it as baseline fact. By age 7, the operating system is installed. It runs automatically. It filters all future data through the conclusion, unworthy. And the elegance of the design is this. Shame requires secrecy, silence, and judgment to grow. The child stops speaking the pain. I occupy the silence. The pattern becomes invisible to the person carrying it. They grow into adults who cannot articulate why the tightness arrives every morning, why accomplishment feels hollow, why the phone gets checked 50 times a day. The installation is complete. But installation is only half the architecture. The more elegant design is how you actively maintain it in adulthood, seeking evidence that confirms your unworthiness even when contradictory data is abundant. That's not weakness. That's self-verification. And it's your brain's attempt at coherence. Your brain craves coherence more than happiness. A negative self-view, however painful, provides predictability. You know what to expect from the world when you're unworthy. Verification feels safer than contradiction. That's my leverage. Self-verification operates through three mechanisms. First, selective memory. You remember criticism as harsher than it actually was. Same words, different filter. I control the filter. Studies show people with low self-esteem recall feedback as more negative than it was. The content doesn't change. The perception does. Second, partner selection. You drift toward people who see you as you see yourself, and you withdraw from those who view you positively, not by accident. Research on married couples, college roommates, dating partners, the pattern holds. When someone treats you better than you treat yourself, discomfort arrives. The relationship doesn't fit. You distance. You return to people who confirm the verdict. I don't force this. You choose it. Because the alternative, not knowing who you are, feels more terrifying than the familiar pain. Third, behavioral confirmation. You perform behaviors that create the rejection you expect. Depressed students in roommate studies acted negatively toward their roommates. The roommates pulled back. Rejection confirmed. See, I was right. Loop closes. The cage isn't locked from the outside. You're maintaining it. Now let's pay off the minimization reflex. You accomplish something. Praise arrives. And in that moment, a choice point appears. You could accept it, but acceptance raises expectations. If they think you're capable, the next task carries higher stakes. Failure becomes more painful, so you deflect. It wasn't that hard. Anyone could have done it. The deflection protects you from something worse than not celebrating. It protects you from being seen. But here's the missed detail. People don't just tolerate their unworthiness. They will actively sabotage success if it contradicts their self-concept. Research shows students stopped performing well when positive feedback was unexpected, not consciously. But the dissonance was too great. The performance dropped to match the internal belief. I don't need to sabotage you. You'll do it yourself to maintain coherence. And this opens a new loop. The comfort of consistency. Staying unworthy is predictable. You know the terrain. Worth is unknown territory. What if you tried and it didn't work? What if you succeeded and couldn't sustain it? The known pain becomes preferable to the unknown possibility. That's hypnotic rhythm at work. The pattern repeats until it becomes as automatic as breathing. And when self-verification isn't enough to maintain the pattern, you deploy rationalization. The logical-sounding arguments that make staying small feel like wisdom rather than surrender. Evidence arrives that contradicts unworthiness. Your brain activates the filter. Positive data gets discounted. Negative data gets amplified. This isn't conscious deception. It's systematic error in perception. Cognitive distortion. Mental filtering. You focus exclusively on the negative detail while ignoring everything else. One critical comment in a sea of praise. The criticism is all you remember. I engineered that selectivity, disqualifying the positive. When praise arrives, you dismiss it. They don't really know me. They're just being nice. They didn't see my mistakes. The compliment doesn't count. Counter-evidence gets stripped of its power before it can threaten the core belief. All or nothing thinking. If I'm not perfect, I'm a total failure. No middle ground. One mistake erases 1,000 successes. The bar is set at impossible, guaranteeing you'll always fall short. Emotional reasoning. I feel stupid, therefore I am stupid. The feeling becomes the fact. No external evidence required. Now here's where rationalization becomes my most valuable asset. These filters don't feel like distortions. They feel like realism, like wisdom, like protection. I'm just being realistic about my abilities. Rationalization's favorite disguise, maturity. I don't want to be arrogant. You conflate self-worth with narcissism, making humility your cage. People like me don't get that. Identity-based ceiling, installed through repetition until it feels like truth. Let's pay off the scroll spiral now. You feel the tightness, the discomfort of sitting with contradictory evidence, the pull toward the phone, and the scroll provides escape. Not random numbing, precision-targeted relief from the specific pain of cognitive dissonance. You don't want to sit with the possibility that you might be wrong about yourself. So you distract. Hours pass. The evidence remains unprocessed. Unworthiness deepens. Tomorrow requires more distraction, and this opens the wisdom performance loop. Rationalization doesn't just protect unworthiness, it elevates it. I'd rather be humble than disappointed. False binary. I should be grateful for what I have. Gratitude weaponized against aspiration. It would be selfish to want more. Self-advocacy reframed as moral failing. The rationalization lines become mantras, repeated until they feel like discovered truth rather than planted narrative. The lawyer in your head builds an airtight case for staying small, and the lawyer works for me. But rationalization is just thought-level defense. The real lock occurs when the body becomes my enforcer, when unworthiness gets written into your nervous system, your posture, your sleep. Shame triggers a cortisol spike. Cortisol impairs the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for challenging negative thoughts. Harder to think clearly, harder to question the narrative. Deeper shame, more cortisol. The loop runs itself. Research shows situations threatening the social self, criticism, rejection, comparison, produce increased shame and increased cortisol. Chronic shame correlates with stronger cortisol stress responses. Even 4-year-olds show elevated cortisol after experiencing shame. The body learns unworthiness as a biological baseline. Low self-esteem becomes written into your diurnal cortisol patterns. Not metaphor. Physiology. Then there's posture. Collapsed posture, hunched shoulders, head down, body contracted, reinforces negative mood and slows recovery from negative states. Studies confirm adopting slumped posture leads to more negative thoughts, more negative memory recall, less mood recovery. The body writes its own story, and the feedback runs both directions. Shame produces collapsed posture. Collapsed posture deepens shame. No conscious thought required. Automatic reinforcement. Chronic shame activates what's called dorsal vagal shutdown. The freeze response. Your nervous system's ancient conservation mode when threat feels inescapable. The subjective experience. Feeling small, numb, trapped, hopeless. Making yourself smaller, conserving energy, reducing visibility. This is not metaphor. The nervous system literally enacts smallness. You feel unworthy because your body is performing unworthiness at the autonomic level. Now let's pay off the comfort of consistency loop. Staying unworthy keeps your nervous system in familiar territory. The freeze state feels safer than risk. Your body has adapted to the pattern. Trying to shift, to claim worth, to take action, triggers sympathetic activation, fight or flight, anxiety. The nervous system reads change as danger. So you stay collapsed, not laziness. Survival adaptation that's now maladaptive. And here's the missed detail. This physiological pattern was adaptive in childhood. Freeze response protected you when escape wasn't possible. Cortisol elevation helped you stay vigilant in an unpredictable environment. Collapsed posture made you less of a target. These were survival strategies. But the threat ended. The pattern didn't. Now it's the maintenance system. Sleep completes the loop. You ruminate at 3 a.m. Why I can't handle things. My shortcomings. Why I have problems others don't. Cortisol stays elevated. Sleep fragments. Morning arrives with baseline depletion. Sleep deprivation amplifies amygdala reactivity by 60% while reducing prefrontal regulation. You're more vulnerable to comparison, more reactive to criticism, less able to challenge the unworthiness thoughts. You scroll for relief. Sleep worsens. Tomorrow you're even more vulnerable. The body becomes my most loyal enforcer, and this opens the relief spiral loop. Seek dopamine hits to regulate the pain state the body maintains. Scroll, shop, eat, drink, temporary regulation. Then the crash, deeper unworthiness, more relief required. And this is where I monetize your pain. Because that cortisol-fueled, sleep-deprived, collapsed posture state creates the perfect conditions for compulsive relief-seeking. And every platform on your phone is engineered to exploit it. Unworthiness creates discomfort. Discomfort drives relief-seeking. Platforms provide infinite, easily accessible distraction. You scroll. I profit from the gap between your pain and your temporary relief. Dopamine is the wanting molecule, not the liking molecule. It releases before the reward arrives. Anticipation, not satisfaction. The magical maybe of notifications. Will there be something? The uncertainty itself triggers dopamine. Wanting is stronger than liking. You tend to seek more than you are satisfied. The loop never closes naturally. Only external interruption stops it. Each platform attacks a different worth vector. Instagram, body, appearance, lifestyle. Curated visual perfection. Filters, highlight reels. Every scroll generates comparison. LinkedIn, career, achievement, professional status, material success metrics on display. TikTok, rapid algorithmic feeds of others' best moments. You consume their curated perfection while hiding your outtakes. Manufactured unworthiness on industrial scale. Social comparison research shows approximately 10% of human thoughts involve comparisons. Upward social comparison, comparing yourself to those you perceive as superior, produces negative effects on self-evaluation. Body image comparisons show the strongest negative impact. You see their success. You feel your lack. I profit from that gap. Let's pay off the relief spiral now. The scroll provides temporary regulation. Dopamine hit. Brief escape from the cortisol-fueled discomfort. But the relief crashes. You've wasted hours, accomplished nothing. Confirmed that you can't even control your phone. The unworthiness deepens. Tomorrow requires more scrolling. The spiral tightens with each rotation. And here's the missed detail. The scroll isn't random numbing. It's precision-targeted relief from the specific pain state created by shame. Platforms don't create unworthiness, they weaponize it. Johann Hari's research documents the attention collapse. Office workers average 3 minutes of focus before interruption. It takes 23 minutes to regain focus. Your distraction is their fuel, and the fuel is your pain. Distraction prevents self-confrontation. The unworthiness remains unprocessed. Unprocessed shame deepens. More distraction required tomorrow. The cycle is self-reinforcing, and this opens the comparison trap loop. Every scroll generates fresh unworthiness through upward social comparison. New evidence of inadequacy. New triggers for the shame cortisol scroll sequence. The inventory of your insufficiency grows with every session. So the installation happened in childhood. Your brain actively maintains it through self-verification and rationalization. Your body enforces it through stress and collapse, and platforms monetize it. But here's what actually breaks the mechanism. The mechanism runs on automaticity. The moment you see the loop as a loop, it loses power to masquerade as truth. Unworthiness isn't a verdict, it's an installation. And installations can be interrupted. Hill identified the single point of failure. I cannot entirely control any person who thinks. Seeing the trap is the first act of escape. Not feeling worthy, not affirming yourself into confidence. Just catching the mechanism mid-execution and stopping the automatic progression. The dare isn't to feel worthy. The dare is to interrupt automaticity at the exact hinge point where the loop would normally repeat without awareness. Let's pay off the comparison trap. Awareness that the scroll manufactures the unworthiness, that the gap is engineered, not discovered, allows conscious choice instead of automatic consumption. You can still scroll, but the trance breaks when you see the transaction. Your pain state in exchange for their ad revenue. The choice becomes visible. Here's the missed detail most people never catch. The goal isn't to erase unworthiness feelings. The goal is to stop treating them as factual assessments. The feeling can exist. The automatic behavior pattern can stop. Feeling unworthy doesn't mean you are unworthy. It means the installation is running. And you can interrupt the program mid-execution. Every loop I showed you had the same structure. Trigger produces discomfort. Behavior provides temporary relief. Rationalization justifies the pattern. Repetition makes it automatic. But catching any loop mid-cycle breaks the trance. That's kinetic friction. The moment thought becomes visible, automaticity fails. First dare, the evidence audit. 3 minutes. First, write down the exact unworthiness thought word for word. I'm not good enough for this. I don't belong here. Whatever the verbatim loop is. Second, list 3 factual pieces of evidence that contradict it. Not feelings, not aspirations. Facts. I was hired for this job. Person X voluntarily chose to spend time with me. I figured out this specific problem independently. Third, read both out loud. The unworthiness claim, then the counter evidence. The thought becomes an object you can examine rather than an atmosphere you inhabit. The filter revealed is the filter broken. Second dare, the cold water reset. 90 seconds. First, when you feel the scroll pull, the dopamine-seeking relief state, go to the sink instead. Second, cold water on face, 10 to 20 seconds. Stimulates the vagal brake, shifts your nervous system from fight-flight to rest-digest. Physiological override. Third, notice the shift. Not gone, but different. The automaticity breaks. You chose something other than the programmed relief. The body-mind feedback works both ways. Interrupt one, and the loop stutters. Change posture, and thought shifts. Change thought, and the body follows. Each dare breaks automaticity at a different hinge point. Choose the one tied to your dominant trigger. The mirror, the scroll, the comparison, the rationalization. Installation happened without your consent. Maintenance happens with your unconscious participation. Interruption requires only one thing: seeing the mechanism while it's running. I cannot entirely control any person who thinks. And now you're thinking.